a stay-at-home dad, watching Disney movies he never had. His daughter digs through all the VHS, crushing the classics in a princess dress. Informed like Scuttle, Kurt's got your ticket, making it real like Jiminy Cricket. Most are off the Captain Hook, but if the Tweedledum, he'll be taking more shots than Bambi's mom. Leaves him raised like Simba, or cracked like the beast dishes. He'll show you a whole new world, you won't need 3 wishes. Stay at home, Disney Dad.
I'll be honest. I have no idea who Kirstie Alley is. I don't know what to make of the late Kirstie Alley. I never watched Cheers. That's what she's known for, right? I know who she is. I just can't think of a single movie I've seen that she was in. Regardless, let's see how she does in this Disney Channel original. It's Toothless time, and we press play. Ad for Mr. Magoo, one of the last 40 or so VHS tapes we have in the bid. Tony Danza as a garbage man NFL superstar. Not sure they actually gave the title of that movie. Angels in the End Zone, Own It, Spring 1998, ad for Black Cauldron, ad for Lion King, Simba's Pride. That was a lot. Let's move on to feature presentation. Wonderful World of Disney opening. This must have been the TV opening. Love it. Sundays on CBC, always mind-blowing. Seeing a Canadian TV channel advertised on a Disney VHS tape. Feature presentation, like I said, Toothless. We start with Kirstie Alley VO. She comes from a long line of dentists, and her dad died a year ago. To celebrate this anniversary of her dad's death, her mom took her to the dentist. Sugar, Sugar keeps playing. No, it's called Candy Girl. That's the song. Candy Girl keeps playing in the background. Gal has another perfect checkup. She's a dental nerd and knows about upper gymnostics. She needs a tooth pulled in 6 months, and the dentist makes her promise she'll put it under her pillow for the tooth fairy. Time marches forward. She's now all grown up. She's a dentist. She took over her dad's practice. She's rich and she's single. There were some fun shots and creative angles in this opening scene. Good camera work, folks. She's out with her gal pal. Her married friend wants her to do something to change her life, but Kirstie's happy the way it is. Her friend asks, "When's the last time you had a date?" And she goes, "With a human?" And that's... She's talking about her vibrator, like 100%. That was totally an adult. This whole thing is totally an adult script that got a Disney wash because all these jokes work way better as adult humor, don't really translate down into PG. Kirstie is a successful loser. That's the point they're driving home. She's rich and she's happy to be single. So clearly there's something wrong with her because it's 1997. Her next appointment canceled, so she's going to go to the bank to deposit some checks, and she gets hit by a car. She's dead. She's standing in the desert. There's circus music, and there's a bunch of movie trailers, like actual physical trailers, and a elevator. It's like Purgatory or Limbo. Is that the same thing, Purgatory? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Band in Red plays as they send a man down in the elevator. This movie looks cheap. This movie looks like it was shot in Canada. No offense to us. As Kirstie awaits judgment, she also has to do community service and will also be judged on her community service. Bicuspid retrieval is an open community service option. It sounds toothy, so she agrees to it before realizing she's now the new tooth fairy. She's getting training. I'm sorry, this movie sucks. You can tell it was thrown together and cheap, and everything is long, roaming handheld shots now, which means they didn't want to track a bunch of movements and set up a tripod. They're just out there, like, making it up as they go. So far, this is definitely in the Hall of Shame for me. She's been dancing and stretching with the 1998's Kevin Hart for about 6 minutes. They're teaching her to fly. This movie, again, it looks so cheap. We get some special defects as they teleport her. I hate this movie. The VHS says Toothless is a heavenly mix of outrageous comedy and amazing special effects that will leave your entire family smiling from ear to ear. Not this family. I'm bored. My daughter's bored. Okay, Kirstie has to stay in a room during the day and watch kids lose their teeth on this magical TV. Then they play Beach Boys Get Around as we half dissolve between her and famous landmarks all over the world and a typewriter. She's like in front of a green screen. I don't know if I've ever felt this indifferent to a Disney movie yet. It's not trying. And you can't make fun of a movie that's trying to be bad on purpose, and I feel like that's what this is. She has her first assignment and appears in this kid's house, and she can't believe that the kid sees her because she's supposed to be invisible. So she freaks out and storms back to her employer back in limbo. You said they couldn't see me! Well, they can see you until they lose their last baby tooth. Once the kids lose their baby teeth, they lose their innocence and they can't see the tooth fairy anymore. Wonderful. Okay, plot. The music is really bad. It's ho-hum high school like marching band filler, and every single scene feels like they looked at the short script and tried to stretch a 30-second scene into a 2-minute scene. The next morning, the kid shows his dad the silver coin the tooth fairy left that's under his pillow. That scene goes nowhere. There's so many nothing shots of this desert set. I'll bet they shot all these scenes in this like desert location in one day. They just hammered these out. There's this weird exchange where she gets all in the Easter Bunny's face and she talks to him like he's a drug dealer, and it goes on way too long, but then it kind of comes back around as I remember that she's a dentist, so I mean that almost kind of makes sense. At school, the son, Billy, this is Billy, bully half his size, punches him in the face and takes his silver coin. Bad news, he lost the silver coin. Good news, the bully knocked out one of his teeth. We fade to black and we get some Congo music as we go to more filler of Ali, dressed as the tooth fairy, dancing in front of a green screen as they use special defects to show her flying all over the world. This could be the worst Disney movie I've seen. 276 movies. 276 weeks later. I think this is the worst. You can tell how cheap it is. Like it bleeds cheap. There's maybe like 6 sets, and I'm not even joking. So far, about half of this movie has been filler. Just long scenes of nothing, of her. Anyway, she has to go back to the first kid because he lost that second tooth. And that's the only kid we've seen her visit so far in this movie. That's what I mean. Like, no montage of her visiting a bunch of different kids. No, we get her floating in front of a green screen. Anyway, these two argue, and suddenly the kid is like, I also have girl problems or something. I don't know. I don't care. The next morning, the dad is like, I got home early and I heard you talking to someone. Were you talking to your dead mother, Billy? And Billy says, no, I was talking to the tooth fairy. And these lines are just delivered like I said them with more expression than they actually were. They're just flat. At school, Billy goes up to this girl and asks if he can walk her home, and she lets him. He asks his best friend for his tooth that popped out so he could put his friend's tooth under the pillow and see the tooth fairy again that night. Ooh, I just got an idea for a horror movie. Let's write that down. Okay, let's mark that one in. Okay. Anyway, the tooth fairy returns that night and they chat again about girls. His dad works late every night since his mom died. This is the sad part of the movie, folks. I feel like this could be almost a blank check moment as they're having this moment. But instead she tucks him in and sings him to sleep. And then dad comes in and he obviously can't see the tooth fairy because he lost his baby teeth. But he's a good dad, and she is like, she's going to end up with this guy somehow. Back to the desert, she asks some other guy she knew when they were both alive. She asks him if she ever saw her dad here in this cheap set desert purgatory. And this is sad moment number 2, but you just can't take this seriously. It's just so ludicrous and bad. This guy she's talking to has to go because he finally got into heaven right now. And he walks up the stair car from Arrested Development, and it actually has like a printed sign that says Stairway to Heaven on it. Like, this is just such stupid shit. Who wants this? She starts asking why she's stuck in limbo, and she's told that while she was a good person, she was never allowed herself to love someone back on Earth. Oh, Doc, there's lessons flying at you. At school, the bullies bully the kid for believing in the tooth fairy, and then he tackles his best friend, who he told his secret to after promising he wouldn't tell anyone. The kid told the bullies. The blonde stops him and is like, did you really talk to the tooth fairy? And she's down with this idea. Here we go, a montage of this blonde, of like his girlfriend, pulling her tooth out. She does the tie the other end to the door and her mom opens it. And has anyone ever actually done that outside of a movie? Also, I'm reminded of the Ren and Stimpy episode where Ren pulls out his nerve endings after he lost his teeth. Still bugs me, still bugs me. That night, the tooth fairy appears in the bedroom and the little girl's like, you're pretty. And the tooth fairy, like Kirstie Alley says, I'm just a reflection of what perverted guys would come up with as a concept of what the tooth fairy should look like here in Hollywood. What? What the? It doesn't matter. The blonde says she wants to go to like medical school camp this summer or something, but her parents can't afford it. And the tooth fairy's like, yeah, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. More green screen flying. She flies to see the dad at a restaurant, and she has the hots for him. And props to the actor here, this guy. He can't see her in the movie, right? So he's just going about his business, reading a paper and eating. And the actress, Kirstie Alley, is literally in his face. Like, she's waving her wand half an inch from his eyes, and the actor like doesn't flinch or anything, and she's like breathing nose to nose in his face, and he acts like she isn't there. That's good stuff. I'm not an actor, but that can't be easy to do, having breath on your eyes and you're not even like blinking or anything. She asks her helper why she's stuck in limbo, and or why he's stuck in limbo, and he goes, I was very sick and I died and I'm stuck here forever, but you can move on. More plot. Everything is handheld camera. They do not have the time nor the budget or the desire to set up tripods. It truly feels like a second-year film school project stretched into a full-length movie. Back at school, Billy the kid is getting into fights on purpose to lose teeth. That's kind of fun. In the principal's office, they're telling him about this kid that thinks he can see the tooth fairy. Now the dad comes home and is overacting. Look, pal, I know you miss your mom, and I do too, but there's no such thing as the tooth fairy. She does exist, but you can't see her because you're never around anymore to see anything. Oh, that exchange. Just father-son magic in this movie. Now the dad is crying by himself in the bedroom. He's talking to his dead wife, Annie. I miss you, girl. Sounds like he's talking to his dead dog. The tooth fairy's watching him cry. And then suddenly sexy music starts as he starts undressing for the night. And she's like, well, I mean, I might as well take advantage of being invisible. And she's about to sit down and watch this dad strip. And then her handler pops in and is like, what are you doing? And that was the first funny part of this entire movie, although it completely came out of nowhere and it's gone. One of the bullies lost his tooth, and Billy says to the bully, come sleep over at my house Friday with your friends and you will see the tooth fairy. And they do sleep over, and yeah, she just shows up. The oldest bully, though, can't see her because he already lost his baby teeth. And she says, yeah, he can't see me because he lost his innocence. And they're like, you lost your innocence. And he's like, I lost my innocence. And then she goes, don't go there. I hate this movie. I hate this. This is like more montage. She's helping all these kids, and there's a tooth pulling epidemic in this area. Can we just wrap this up already? There's a class photo, and they half-ass it. They half-ass that the kids are missing teeth. It would have been way funnier if every kid was missing every tooth, and it was just row after row of empty smiles. But whatever. The blonde got into the summer nursing program camp or whatever, so the tooth fairy just comes down to congratulate her at school. She can just come and go with these kids as she pleases now, I guess. There doesn't need to be teeth. I don't care. And now Bobby is feeling left out and jealous because everyone knows about the tooth fairy and she's not spending enough time with him now, and he sulks off. It's Judgment Day in Limbo Land now. Kirsty, there's bad audio now, for real. Everyone is screaming and the audio is over-modulating. This movie is so bad on every level. She's being judged now and they can't even afford a courtroom set. It's like a classroom. She's broken every rule, repeatedly breaks all the rules. However, the tooth fairy approval rating is at an all-time high and tooth collecting is up. However, she is still not allowed to go to heaven, but they're going to give her one more week to clean up her act. But one more infraction and she's going to hell. I would like this movie to end now. The kids are all in trouble for pretending they see the tooth fairy. She begs her limbo guide or partner or mentor, whoever this is, to make her visible to adults so she can show the town that she is real, even if it means she gets sent to hell for all of eternity. Okay, she appears at the school, but of course the adults can't see her. She tells Bobby that she thinks her dad is dreamy. She remembers her guide saying that she can be seen by adults if she lets her guard down. So she starts dancing. I guess that's her letting her guard down, but it doesn't work. She hugs Bobby, and as she hugs Bobby, she appears. That's her letting her guard down, hugging someone. And now the adults can't see her, and she dunks on all the adults for being old and lame. Suddenly her handlers and like the limbo police show up at the school, and they arrest her, and they're going to take her to hell, and everyone can see everyone, and they drag her away, but then they disappear into the background. We have shots of all the school kids and their parents, everyone walking up to the wall in the auditorium where they disappeared through. But they play this in slow motion again for no reason other than to stretch this out. Back in the desert, they're dragging her to the elevator. No more chances. They stick her in the elevator. They hit down and go to hell. They play Bonnie Tyler's incredible 1977 hit It's a Heartache as she goes down into hell, and just like that, her life flashes before her eyes to this song. And this scene is fantastic. This scene is great. Oh, it's still 100% fillers. They show highlights of the whole movie in black and white. But I forgot how great this song is. This right here, people, is the power of music. This movie sits atop the suck pile after 276 weeks, but I will forever remember this because this movie reintroduced me to this forgotten classic, and I love the black and white montage because of this song. The song ends, and Swerve, we go all the way back to the start like a Coldplay song. She didn't get hit by the car. She's okay. She's not dead. It was all a dream. One of her handlers from Limbo appears in like a flower shop and's like, you've been given a second chance. Don't blow it. Now she's Scrooge at the end of Christmas Story, and she's nice to everyone, but she was nice to everyone before, so it doesn't even make it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Her first patient is Bobby, and he remembers her as the Tooth Fairy from this other timeline or dimension. She pulls out his last baby tooth though, and that means nothing though, because it does mean something. He doesn't remember who she used to be now in the alternate timeline after his baby tooth came out. He just thinks she's his new dentist. Hot dad comes in, and okay, this is how they're gonna end up together. He remembers her though as the Tooth Fairy, and I can't keep straight who remembers who and who sees who and what anymore. I don't care. Fade to black. Please, no. Still going. She chases them out and asks Bobby and Dad to a baseball game this Friday. She figures her dad must have pulled some strings to help her get out of hell, like her dead dad. Okay, we end with her poorly dancing the street to another great song though. Guys, I hated this movie. I don't often say that. I truly find something good in all these movies. I have no desire to turn this into like a complaining fest. 276 weeks, you can count the number of movies I've actually hated on one hand easily. This was one of them. Everything was bad. Okay, the real music was good, like the music they paid for. They must have spent money on it. But the generic background music was the worst part. Like you have to hear it. It was just ho-hum, lazy high school brass band that sounded like the ending to Curb Your Enthusiasm, but looped through every scene. And it made me feel like an idiot for watching this, right? If that makes any sense. My only takeaway is how great of a song It's a Heartache is. So I thank Toothless for that. Yeah, hearing that song again just knocked me down. Like, it put this entire movie on its shoulders and said, here's one last memorable moment. Seeing that all this wasted time and effort in slow-mo black and white almost justified the enormous workload that no one cared about.
It's a heartache, nothing but a heartache. Hits you when you're too late, hits you when you're down.
That's what I think about.
What do you think?
What we have is a concern about Curtis Anderson. His interviewing style is not the best. His personal appearance is not the best. I was wondering if the man has some kind of a hold over the channel that he's allowed to be employed for so long with the standards of journalism and personal appearance that he has. Thank you.